Did you listen to Jeff and Professor Hemo in the morning? Here's what you missed.
Yeah, mama.
Go on, bruv, go on.
Money, mama.
Money.
Mama.
You know what? She is probably the most celebrated South African singer, female at least, in their history. And can you imagine, she was singing way back in the 60s. In the 60s. Unbelievable, I told you earlier on. She's a daughter of a Sangoma, and she spent 6 months of her first year in life in jail.
So she was born in jail?
They said whether it's the first 6 months or the second 6 months, but, you know, she spent 6 months.
Yes.
Right? Because her mother had been arrested because she was a Sangoma, a witch doctor. Maybe that's where she got the voice from, right? From her mother, because her voice was remarkable. And she started early. She was singing with a group called the Manhattan Brothers in 1953.
Walikuwa wapi?
Kenya ikuwa during the Mau Mau.
Tukiwa kwa emergency.
Yeah. The Manhattan Brothers and Miriam Makeba were performing in South Africa, in apartheid South Africa. So they were all black, obviously, right? All black.
Yeah.
She left them to form an all-female group called the Skylarks. This was in 58.
Yes.
Then she returned to the Manhattans later on when they accepted her as a female lead, right? And then Pata Pata, remember Pata Pata? This signature song that Katiba Clyde was playing earlier. Katiba. Exactly. She released that in 1956, right? But it didn't become a hit until 67, when she performed it with Harry Belafonte. By this time, she had been declared a persona non grata
in her country.
She went to the US to perform, and she was very outspoken about apartheid, right?
Yes.
Anti-apartheid movement. And she hooked up with Harry Belafonte. Remember Harry?
Yes.
What you got from Harry, Katiba? What you got from Harry?
Harry Belafonte.
Yeah. Oh man, a classic. That's another classic. He was here in 63 during Independence.
Yeah?
He performed at the Independence ceremony.
He was here?
Harry Belafonte.
My goodness.
He performed the Sal Davis.
Unajua kitu natuambia, unajua ni watu wachache sana wanasikiza hii kitu wanaelewa. Najua watu wako kwa matatu na hawashiki kitu. Sasa hiyo wako kwa WhatsApp group wakiuliza.
Harry Belafonte.
Hebu tafuta kitu tusikie. Labda watu wanamjua wimbo lakini hawajui ni nani.
Okay. Wacha Katiba atafute. So anyway, she performed with Harry and they hit it off big time. They were such a great combination. By the way, Harry was originally from Jamaica and then moved to America, where he became a huge superstar. Now,
what was he doing? In Nimbogani alikuwa naimba.
Oh my goodness.
Alikuwa naimba
Matilda, Matilda. Matilda, she take me money and run Venezuela.
Matilda.
Matilda, Matilda, she showed me money and run Venezuela.
Tukisema hivyo.
Wile ingine.
Ngani?
Deo. Deo. Come and wanna go home. Wacha kuharibu nini?
Hapana.
Wacha kuharibu nini?
Hata wewe ndio unataka kuharibu. Umeanza na nini?
Deo. Deo. Freedom come and me wanna go home.
Huyu ndio nani?
Me said daylight come and me wanna go home. That's Harry. That's Harry.
Sasa unasema Harry sisi kila mtu
unafikiri ni Harry kale katoto iskango
Yes, nataka Harry ni nani? Thank you. Tuko na wimbo. Weka hiyo wimbo yake hiyo ya nini?
Katiba scrambling. So anyway, so then now Harry is performing in America. He's a huge star.
Yes.
And by the way, he's performing in a place called Carnegie Hall.
Carnegie.
If you ever perform in Carnegie Hall in New York City, those days in the 60s, it was huge.
And they were still struggling na kupiga wa Afrika bado.
Imagine America, they're struggling with the African Americans. South Africa, apartheid. But these two have come together.
Rebels now. These are two rebels.
And then she hooks up with a guy called Hugh Masekela, who had also been banned and exiled from South Africa. So they meet in New York, in what's it called, East Village, New York. It's called Greenwich Village, and they start performing. And they, they come from the same place. They're reunited.
They're clicking all the way.
All the way. They decide to get married.
Oh man, these are two huge artists.
Can you imagine?
Wamekaa pamoja.
Nikaa Beyonce na Jay-Z.
Yes.
Amaje?
Ni malips tu tumekosa. The Jay-Z. Otherwise, I give you
two big names.
Yes.
They get married, but it didn't last long. It lasted like a year and change, but they remained friends for a long, long time.
Wow.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, she continues now. She's very outspoken against apartheid in her country. She's performing with Harry Belafonte. She becomes a citizen of the world. Wow. She's touring everywhere.
Yes.
But then the 60s in America, like you said,
yes.
African Americans, being battered and bruised and tear gassed and beaten and killed.
Yes.
And there was this movement in America at that time called the Black Panther movement. Black beret.
Yes.
See beret.
Ni beret.
Beret.
Sasa ukisema beret unafikiria nani ataelewa? Sema beret. Kofia ya polisi. Hata basi usiweke hata hizo jina. We don't care about the name.
Okay.
Kofia hii ya polisi. Nyeusi.
So it was led by people like Hugh Newton, who's one of the most famous, and another guy called Stokely Carmichael. Very famous Black Panther.
Yes.
So now, guess what? Miriam Makeba with all her singing and everything.
Yes.
Harry Belafonte is there. So they get to meet the Black Panthers. She falls in love with Stokely Carmichael.
Kwa hivyo Stokely ndio aliharibia Hugh Masekela. Hugh Masekela. Nimeona mali kishida ilitokea. Stokely ka.
Ni hiyo beret.
Ni beret. Na kuongea hapo kizungu na nini?
Kizungu mingi.
Yes, huyu ana click huku. Na huyu anaongea kizungu inateleza.
So they fall in love. But it's the height of the Black Panther movement, which is banned by and being sought after by the FBI. So guess what happens? Stokely says, you know what? Let's move back to Africa, man. We belong to Africa.
I want to go home. I want to go home.
Yeah. So in the meantime, they get contacts in a place called Guinea.
Guinea hii moja ya kina Bissau.
Hapana. Unajua kuna Guinea Bissau, good question. Na kuna Equatorial Guinea. But then there's also one, just Guinea on its own.
Yes.
Right there next to Burkina Faso. Hapo karibu.
Yes.
The capital is Conakry.
Yes.
The president then was Sekou Touré. Yeah, very smart man back in the day. Very brilliant African, Sekou Touré. So he grants these two asylum in his country.
He says, kujeni Kenya hapa.
Stokely Carmichael moves in with his new bride.
Yes.
He changes his name
to
Sekou. No, his name Touré. Oh man, God, it was on the tip of my tongue right now. I'll look for it. Touré. One of the words was Touré.
Yes.
It's coming. Anyway, so he changes his name.
Yes.
They move to Guinea. Now she becomes like an ambassador, a diplomat from Guinea to the United Nations. New York.
So from amepatiwa kazi sasa na Guinea.
Na ni South Africa.
Yes.
Representing Guinea in New York pale walikuwa.
So she used to frequent
she became a diplomat for Guinea. But she's South African, but she's not allowed in her own country.
Yes.
Can you imagine?
Have you changed
Stokely Carmichael, what was his name?
Kwame
Touré. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Kwame Touré. Yes. Right?
Yes.
So, but she's still
Kwame cannot go to America.
No, he's
FBI wanamngojea. Wako naye huko. Nurudin Washington.
I think he even burnt his passport. Back in the day, he burnt his US passport. He became a Guinean. Wakapatio citizenship.
Yes. So you are.
Can you imagine? Some good African countries back there. They were really good ones.
Yeah, supporting Black Panther.
Exactly. Over the years, she continued to sing. She continued to perform. She continued to be very outspoken.
Going around the world now.
Going around the world. Yes. Around the world. Now, remember, she hasn't gone back home. It's been 30 years, right? Because she was exiled in 1960. She got to go back the year after Mandela was released. Mandela was released on February 11th, 1990. Next Monday, Tutonge your mama.
Monday to
Remind me.
Yes, your friend.
My friend Madiba. So he was released on February 11th, 1990. She got to go back in 1991 and perform for the first time that April in her homeland. 31 years later. Can you imagine how emotional it must have been?
Yeah. Unajua Mandela alikuwa amefungwa.
Miaka yote.
Yes.
Now who
Exile. Walikuwa same time, yes.
But by the way, she reunited with Hugh Masekela for a concert. But not
no, she reunited ya for concert. Thank you for that. Hata simuona umetoka kajasho. Nimeona umepakuza miadi. So they reunited.
Yes.
For a concert now at home.
Yes.
Hugh had already gone home.
Yeah, he had gone like months before, just not that long before.
Months.
Yes. I saw her perform once in New York City, man. In the late 80s. And him as well, Hugh.
Yes.
Beautiful, wicked, I mean, haunting voices. Her voice was so haunting. By the way, she's the only African artist, if I'm not mistaken, to have performed at Madison Square Garden, at Carnegie Hall. She's giving a speech to the United Nations General Assembly, and she received an award called the Doug Hammarskjöld Peace Prize. Back in 1968, Doug Hammarskjöld was a former UN Secretary General who actually died in a plane crash in the Congo trying to negotiate the peace back in the early 60s. Can you imagine? Doug Hammarskjöld, a Swedish guy.
This is after they killed Lumumba.
Yeah, it was. I think just after they killed Lumumba, and the UN was going to negotiate peace. What?
Yes.
His plane crashed in the Congo. They come a Kofi Annan, you know, the other day. So very famous guy. Anyway, Miriam Makeba. Where's Harry? Where's Harry? Where's Harry? Continue. Where's Harry?
You in boy to you.
Dale. Daylight come and me wanna go home.
Dale.
I love it.
Dale. Daylight come and me wanna go.
That's it. I'll tell you. Jamaica. Wait.
Ay.
See Jamaica very well. Weka Deo.
Deo. Andika Deo.
Deo.
Weo. Deo. Mimi ni nani? Deo. Kwa Kiswahili.
Ni nani?
Hayuko. Deo. Mimi ni nani? Weo. Tafuta.
Jamaica Farewell is not a bad one either. Daylight come and they wanna go home.
Gregory Isaac did a rendition
of this.
Yes.
But listen to this. This is probably the most famous song by Harry Belafonte. It's called Jamaica Farewell. Listen. Kianda, kakando.
Kidogo tu, tafadhali.
Oh man, you know, all the older generation right now. Oh, Missy Mama. So Harry Belafonte performed at Independence Day here in Kenya, 1963. Guess who recruited him?
Who?
The late great Thomas Joseph Mboya.
Mboya was a friend to
Harry, to Miriam Makeba, to Sammy Davis Jr.
They met in New York.
In New York and in London and all that. Tom was the one who was organizing after party. TJ.
Man!
Can you imagine? And they were all here. Sal Davis tells this story. Oh man, what a life. And you know, he really helped Miriam and of the Exiles.
Yes.
And he's still alive, huh? Harry's still alive, yeah.
Man, how old is he?
He must be in his 90s now.
Yes.
90s.
Jojo-ish.
Jojo.
Ni Jojo wa dunia.
Listen, we'll skip to Kianda right now.
Yes.
Let him give us a bit of sports. Alafu tumalize now. Miriam Makeba's signature song that still plays to this day. It may have been Fidelia Williams who wrote it.
Yes, but
Miriam perfected it.
William to Miriam.
William. Kianda. Excuse me.
No.
So there was a bit of a inaitwaje ile Real Madrid na Barcelona
Classical.
classical. There was a bit of a classical last night. 1-1. It was more.
Mimi sipendi Man City,
Kuna uba.
sipendi Chelsea.
Kuna uba.
No, siendi mahali. Hata hivyo unajaribu kunikimbiza. I'm not going anywhere. Nashika hapa peke yako.
Unajua wewe man is crazy.
No. Sisi wajana hizo story. Mimi I'll be here.
Paka.
Kienda. Take it away.
Harambee Stars, Shujaa na Barcelona.
Oh.
Aya, what next? Makeba.
Yes. So now Miriam. Oh, by the way, she wrote a book, autobiography, beautiful book. I have it at home. I forgot the title. I'll get it for you just now. But she talks about how her daughter died. It really hurt her when her daughter died. I think it was cancer or an accident, something. It just evades my mind. But her greatest joy was in performing back home 3 decades later and performing for Madiba.
Oh. Utata. Eh?
Oh my God, it was incredible. It was very emotional. Then she died. What year did she die, Katiba? What, less than 10 years ago, I think.
Yes.
Unbelievable, man.
While performing.
While on stage, yeah, she collapsed, right?
Heart attack.
She got a heart attack on stage.
9th November.
9th November 2008.
Exactly, 11 years ago. 11 years ago.
In
this
Italy,
year. In Italy, yeah. Unbelievable. And then she's gone, Hugh's gone, Madiba's gone, Mutukutsi's gone. Goodness. But listen, her greatest song that everyone remembers is this song right here. They say Fadhili Williams may have written it. Actually, Sal Davis, the one I keep talking about, who's in Mombasa now, he was a huge performer back in the 60s. He says Fadhili may not have written it, but Fadhili perfected it, and then Miriam just took it the next level. Take a listen.
Catch Jeff Koinange and Professor Hamo every day, Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. only on Hot 96.